This episode is sponsored in part by Light Source Psychotherapy. If anxiety, panic, trauma, sleep issues, or big life transitions have you feeling stuck, their team works with kids, teens, adults, couples, and families in Belleville, Illinois, through teletherapy or even walk and talk outdoors. Evidence-based care like CBT, DBT, EMDR, and more, built around what matters most to you. Learn more and book at findyourlightsource.com. This episode is sponsored by McKelvey Insurance Group. If you've ever felt confused or overwhelmed by insurance, McKelvey Insurance Group keeps it simple. They're an independent agency, which means they compare options from multiple providers to find coverage that actually fits you, not just one company's policy. No pressure, no jargon, just honest guidance and real help. You can get a quick quote or a policy review at mckelveyins.com or call 618-623-0080. Thanks to McKelvey Insurance Group for supporting the show.
Yeah. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah. React if you have to, yeah. Don't know the time, yeah. Just know that I'm, yeah, one of a kind, yeah. What's on your mind, yeah. Well, hard to find, yeah. Beautiful mind, yeah. Still in my prime, yeah. Just know that I'm here.
Welcome everybody to Pondoff's Anonymous. I've lost track of episodes, and I think we're in season 3. Hosted by the Illinois Recovery Center, title studio sponsor. And McKelvey Insurance, where you can get life insurance, auto insurance, renters, anything you need, and he has connections in the health game. So,
and they walk you through every step. It's so nice.
Like for the last hour and a half.
Yeah, for the last hour and a half. Shout out Eric. Shout out Evan. You guys are the best. No crying, even.
And the funny thing is, you were crying like going into the phone call, and then it was so easy. Like
it's the worst part. I always get like.
And she got in the car and she was crying, and I said, "We're going to do this. We're going to do this health insurance."
I wasn't
thing.
crying off rip. I had been crying a little before.
Mm-hmm. And I said the hardest thing is making the call, and then you're going to make the call and be like, "Oh my God, that was so easy." They make it so easy.
Yeah, it's true. So
and when I heard the prices, it's fucking not nearly as expensive as I thought. So
what?
You guys
really?
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, great job to and please support the sponsors.
Oh my gosh, yeah, can't recommend enough.
Go to YouTube and please subscribe on the YouTube page. I know it's a little bit of effort, but it really helps us out, according to the 12-year-olds out there that say we're losers because we don't have enough subs.
No subs.
But apparently it's important, so it gets the word out more. It's not to make us just to inflate our egos. It's to get the word of hope out more, and especially for an episode that we're getting ready to embark on. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to host Miss Tiffany Foster.
Thank you so much.
Drove an hour and 15 minutes to be here in studio to tell her story. That it's a very important story about her family, primarily her son Zack, and to honor him and to spread awareness on what's going on out there. Tiffany, it's kind of like it's probably inappropriate to say, but like my form of Tourette's is when shit gets really hard, I'll go to a quick joke and make it as inappropriate as possible to try to. It's just survival tactic.
I think that's perfect. And I am the same way. I feel there should be laughter at funerals because it helps us all get through.
All right, amen. So if I just have like a sudden tick and make a joke as it's getting really hard, apologies in advance.
Yeah, you can just look right at him, but then say nothing and then look away. And then I think he like gets it.
Zoe twitches her eye at me.
It's true.
But thank you for being here, Zoe. Before we get started, you are Jeff's out tonight, so you are our woman in STEM.
Well, the second woman in STEM, because I think
Absolutely. She's a nurse. So
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But what am I doing?
You're just technology's good. We're all on. We're recording.
Yeah, I pressed 4 buttons.
We're live. We're on air, and we are ready to hear.
Get emotional.
Yeah, but yeah, that's gonna be
continue being emotional.
But Tiffany, you come to us from a colleague, a friend, dear friend that I have met. We have met at Underground. I've talked on this show since we've launched Underground Recovery Community. I almost said ministry, but that's too gospel-y, churchy shit. So community.
Community is good. I think
right.
so.
Yeah. And, we just created the space and then God did the rest, right? Mm-hmm. And he's brought us this conglomerate of moms that have changed my life, changed our life, everybody that's there, moms that have kids that are battling addiction, teens, moms that have kids that are doing on the other side, doing good. And then also, as gut wrenching and hard as it is, but even most heroic moms like you that have lost a son to the poison that's on the street. I don't, and you will get to it, but I don't want to misclassify your son Zack isn't even addict at the time that he passed away.
Right.
So Tiffany said Tennille said you got to meet my friend Tiffany, and I was honored, and we met for coffee. I think we slotted in an hour, and it probably went 2+.
Could have kept going.
Yeah. And your fierceness in everything you've been through, I think the last adult in the room was finally sentenced just less than a year ago.
Yeah. So everything, it was 4 years for the 2 males who were actually charged in Zack's death. 4 years for that to go to trial, and then obviously sentencing. I believe we did the first about 2 years after Zachary's death, and sentencing for the second happened just a few weeks before what would have been his 4 years since his passing.
Not that I can ever imagine the grief of losing a child, especially from a mother's perspective. You can try, it's just not possible. But then you add the trials and let's start with prosecution and,
right.
and trials, like what that does to a grief journey. I have no fucking idea.
There was a lot of, I'm so blind to this whole process. So yeah.
They don't have classes.
Right. I had just kind of assumed that once Zachary had passed, that within a year, all would be done. And it took roughly 7 months after he had passed away for initial grand jury indictments, warrants, charges, everything. And then from there, I want to say, so Zack passed in 2021, and we had the first trial in 23. Yes.
Wow.
So for 7 months, you're dealing with the life-changing soul ripped out of your heart, and then, justice, which I imagine at times maybe you wanted to put into your own hands. I don't know. And it took 7 months. So these folks were just living life.
Right. So it took 7 months, and I will say you learn so much about the judicial system when you become part of it, unfortunately.
I believe that.
And it is a very long and drawn out process. It's kind of, you're known as writing the docket.
So there's a term for it.
Yes. Yeah. So they were arrested and charged in March of 22.
And he died in, you said?
Zachary died in August of 21.
August of 21.
Yeah. So they were officially charged in March of 22. And then I was able to do victims' impact statements as far as they were both trying to get a bond reduction. They were both set. Oh, yeah.
That's so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I get it.
That's so
completely.
This is my coffee. Like, I kind of cheated Zoe. I got to sit and listen to Tiffany's story over coffee.
True.
So there's some prep, but yeah, you're like, what the lot of what the fucks
Yeah.
through
Oh my
this story.
gosh. It's like the one thing that people can all agree on as far as like the legal system is like, don't touch kids. Like, don't. And it's just a bold fucking move to be like poisoning at least one and then being like, but don't put me away for as long, or like make it less.
Well, the thing was that so bonds were set at $250,000, and I believe it's 10% has to be put down, I think, to bond out, or so I thought. The friend of the family's, the first trial, Andrew Amelong, he never was able to get out of jail. So from the minute he was arrested until his trial, he never left jail.
Because he couldn't post?
Correct. He couldn't post bond, nothing like that. And then Thomas Noonan, who was Zack's friend's stepfather. So when I talk about Zack's friend, I just refer to him as Ben. So much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So he was Ben's stepfather. I did 2 days. I think it was 2 days after I gave my victim's impact statement. He bonded out. And that is when I learned that even though you have these bonds set, $250,000, all it really takes is a bondsman to be willing to take your case for set amount of money, set amount of collateral, and that's it. You're not held to that,
That $25K.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
I've heard that on, they had TV shows on that, on how that bonds work. And then, I've seen it. At flip side, I know it. A young man who it was his, and then something happened. It just got screwed up. It's fucked up. But kind of giving some teasers to this episode. Let's start at the beginning, and I want to make sure, and you'll have no problem doing this. So make sure that I and Zoe continue to celebrate Zack.
Yeah.
The kid he was, and the light he still is through your work, through this, because boy, you just showed me a picture of him, and it's just not fair, and it's gut wrenching, and he's a beautiful
young
man, and I'll be honest, like it's impossible not to see my son's face in that picture. So a similar age, and parents out there, which is some of the work you're doing with the nonprofit we'll talk about that later, but need to understand the severity. Say it a lot, but this episode will drive the point home that, when I was in high school, experimentation was expected. Everybody, first time you puked from getting drunk, you wanted to scare people from driving or doing some drugs, trying some stuff. There was nothing as fatal, and it's a chemical weapon, but of what this fentanyl is.
Yeah.
But start at the beginning. Tell us about Zack. Tell us about his childhood, your family.
Yeah. So Zack was born in Chicago. So he was born 2008 on August 21st.
Okay.
We moved back to Missouri when he was about a year and a half.
So you grew up in Washington.
Correct.
Missouri, right?
Yeah. So I moved to Chicago, I think it was maybe my early 20s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I say I lived them to the fullest.
Yeah, time to do it.
Yeah.
Time to do it.
Sure.
You're single.
Chicago's a fun city.
I loved the chaos. I lived and worked in a very young, trendy, popular area. And I did. I lived it to the fullest.
Is there a more opposite polar opposite place on earth than Washington, Missouri from Chicago, Illinois.
You know, it's crazy because I never thought I would come back.
Sure.
And now when I moved back, it was because I could not think of a better place to raise Zack.
Sure.
Washington's such a very, homegrown, old family bloodlines, just incredible schools. It's a wonderful place. So Zack, I always joke and say he was hyperactive in the womb. He could kick remotes off my stomach.
Oh my
so that just should have been a prelude, right? But Zachary, from the moment he was born, just a very outgoing, just loving kid, never knew a stranger. I had a conversation with his pediatrician when he was about a year and a half, because I'm expecting stranger danger, and Zack never had it. Every single person he met, it does not matter what you look like, who you are, nothing. Everyone was an opportunity to be a friend. And
he'd get right in the van.
Right up, no matter what.
We said that about Charlie.
Yes.
He would be like, hey, what's your name? My name's Charlie. And we're like,
or he would be like, oh, well, I can't get in your van, but what do you need? I'll help you find it.
I'll look for your puppy.
That's exactly it. Show me a picture. Just always, just very, very friendly, outgoing kid. Very ADHD kid.
Sure.
Yes, and amen.
Yes, I'm right there with you. My favorite.
I was going to go off in a little bit.
No, I turned it off so that
time to take medicine.
Yeah.
It happens once a show.
But my favorite story as far as Zack and his ADHD, his guidance counselor during a parent-teacher conference had said, every time there's a new student who comes into our district and says, my child is ADHD or ODD or whatever it might be, she says, I just want to say, come to school first thing in the morning before Zack Foster's patch has kicked in, and I will show you true ADHD. So Zack, super rapid metabolizer.
So he had a patch?
Yeah. So
tell us.
I was like, waiting for context clues to understand.
So
okay.
yeah, I got to ask.
So he wore a Daytrana patch. So it is the only ADHD medication that bypasses digestion. So he would take these, extended release medicines. And within 3 to 4 hours, they would be completely worn off. Yeah.
So like time release stuff, what didn't work?
Didn't touch him. So we went to this patch because it takes a good 2 hours to kick in, but we put one on a hip, opposite hips each day.
Okay.
And within a few hours, it's hit his bloodstream, and it was like a light switch.
No
Oh my gosh, sounds awesome.
It really was. But then,
call Evan.
Yeah, Eric
put it out there. I truly, I think I've only met maybe 2 other people.
I've never heard of this.
Most people haven't.
How'd you get in the know?
Just like I said, we were going through like high doses, and for the first year he was on medications, he didn't gain weight. And his doctor was like, I don't care if you were giving him pizza and ice cream every day for the rest of his life. He has to gain weight. Yeah. He was always a very athletic, thin, hyperactive kid.
Sure.
So when we finally got to that patch and we were able to stop pumping him full of medication, it was game changer. Game changer. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go through Concerta.
Okay.
But they say that symptoms or behaviors that stem from like childhood trauma are the same as symptoms of ADHD. So getting to the root was really important for Ashley and I with our son, and we finally did. And the Concertos really helped. And he wants to take it.
Yes.
He described, and I was curious if Zack, did he play video games?
Oh, yeah.
These video games, it's Fortnite and stuff, but the video games that he'll play, that our son would play and still does, he'll like want us to watch. And we get fucking motion sickness watching this. And he described to his therapist one time that when he finally got the skills to articulate what his brain's baseline was, he described it to her in verbatim as a chaotic video game. That was a fucking
relate.
I mean, our mind, that's when Ashley and I were like, we got to get him, because you really can humanize, like, he can't go to sleep. Like, his mind is just spinning and cannot sit still. I mean, that shit at school about sitting still is a whole other thing, but that's when I never knew. I always knew there was the stimulant or the non-stimulant. I never heard of the patch.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Where did you hear about it? Like, is this like underground
pediatrician?
ADHD? Whoa.
Yeah. But like I said, I've only known 2 other kids who needed it.
It must be pretty, like, you're really metabolizing.
Yeah, I think
Charlie
super,
doesn't need it.
super quick metabolizer. We tried multiples and just didn't matter how high that dose was, within a few hours, boom.
That's kind of, yeah, like you're saying no matter how high the dose was, it still would last only 4 hours or whatever.
At max.
Yeah. I noticed that as well. Sometimes it's like you get the bad symptoms come back, but then anyway.
You mean with your stuff?
Yeah, like going on higher dosages, like it still stops at the same time, or other like extended release medications.
Right.
Like that's how it is with my Lamictal too. It's like I added another dose, but I can still pinpoint exactly when
it's starting to wear
Wow.
out.
Yeah.
There's definitely a change around the dinner time. And we notice that the appetite and there's nothing harder than eating when you're not hungry.
Right. Nothing sounds good. Nothing tastes good.
And we have to, it's like the constant little battle we have, but that really hits home if he was taking high doses and it was over in a short amount of time, something's not working.
Right.
So the patch, you noticed that was an instant game changer.
Game changer. We started him, got a 504 plan for him at school. Okay. He started doing occupational therapy.
What age, if you don't mind me asking, did he start?
So we did the 504. We implemented it, I want to say maybe midway through kindergarten.
Okay.
But it was more so to get him set up for the start of first grade.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then we would have meetings the beginning, midway, and then the end of the school year.
You happy with and I can nerd out about this stuff, but
sure.
With the IEP and stuff, and
he didn't have an IEP.
So there's a difference?
There was. So IEP, I think, is more, and I could be completely wrong, but I think IEP is more focused on the educational aspect, whereas 504 is going to be more of implementing behavioral kind of changes, that sort of thing.
Sensory stuff?
A lot of sensory.
Ooh.
Yeah, sensory stuff. I bought him, I don't know the special name for it, but think of like big red yoga balls.
Yeah, yeah.
So he kind of had one like that, but it was small size for a kid and it sat in a chair so he could kind of bounce.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
That's awesome.
To help.
We got you think of them in the 80s, the exercise trampolines.
Yeah.
We would get, and there would be times like, Charlie, go jump for 5 minutes and then we can. And because it was huge, it was huge. The sensory stuff was that was the best part. Webster School District, and I think it was the IEP or even just the social worker was really good on sensory stuff.
I think one of the things I learned about ADHD that I'd never realized is the impulsiveness that comes with it.
Yeah.
Zoe's feeling it.
Snow great.
And I think that was truthfully.
You feel so seen.
Yeah.
That was my first kind of big clue with Zack, was just he wasn't able to control these impulses.
Sure.
You know the rules.
Yeah.
I know the rules.
Yes.
I know why I shouldn't do the thing.
Yes.
I know why I should do the thing. Doesn't matter.
No.
So when did he get the patch?
He was 5, yeah.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Yeah. So we hear so many stories. Oh, he's just a boy. So Zack always had behavioral traits that,
Sure.
and I even when he was in preschool, I asked the teacher once, like, is he, are the other kids, like, is he like them?
Right.
And she had said, like, how other kids wear themselves out? Well, Zack doesn't.
Can't.
And yes, it was, it wasn't possible for him.
Mhm.
But, so he did really well with the patch.
And he liked it.
Yeah, it was so
good.
simple.
Right.
I will say that he continued those traits of being, fun, loving, goofy.
Good.
Everything kind of rolled off the back of his shoulders. Like his friends, like, shut up, man, you fucking talk too much. Things like this.
Right. Nickel,
Right.
I heard that.
It didn't bother him. He would just kind of chuckle. And then 6th grade came around. And Zack, he went through puberty in 6th grade. The kid was shaving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
Not there yet. Yeah.
I feel like that was kind of when we started noticing kind of anger stuff coming out with him. Those comments, you talk too much was bothering him more. He was taking them to heart. And I think that is when, hindsight, I see more now than what I did then. But we started him in therapy, wanted to make sure we were getting a jump start on things. His biological dad wasn't involved in his life. And that was playing a huge factor at that point. And it just kind of, we started to notice those impulsive, lots of conversations, how our choices will and can have consequences. Started finding out, he had been kind of smoking with a friend of his up the street, little things like that, I started seeing.
Was it vape or cigarette?
No, it was a cigarette. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I know.
I think vapes are the new gateway drug. They're just, and they're finding fentanyl in them. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrible.
It is.
Gateway both ways.
And they're marketing them to children. They're, I say this probably on every show, but Lloyd at the tavern that smokes 3 packs of Marlboro Reds a day that wants to get his lungs back doesn't change to a mango kiwi vape.
Right.
Those are
That's sparkly.
Right. He's they're for kids. So it's like
a little game on the screen.
Right.
What more could you want?
I mean, and the cigarette industry got taken down by that. I mean, Joe Camel, Marlboro Man,
right?
The Marlboro Miles. I think I said on a show, I knew a guy that got the pool table. He had so many Marlboro Miles.
Imagine.
But man. So that's why when I asked, and you caught him smoking?
No.
Okay.
So this was found out. We didn't catch him smoking. Truthfully, I'm not even 100% certain how we found out.
You smell it on him?
I don't think it was that. I want to say we might have had one of those couldn't find a lighter, kind of asked him, hey, do you know where the lighter for whatever? And, that kid, he was such the world's worst liar. Eye rolling around.
Yeah, mom
looking,
knows.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. Nice try.
And I'm pretty sure it led to okay, well, let me look through your pool bag. And I'm almost positive that's where we found maybe a cigarette butt or something like that.
When he hit puberty and that change, what do you think it was? I see this a lot, like a desire to fit in, a desire to be included.
I think that, while physically he was maturing, mentally he's still a 12-year-old kid.
Sure.
And you have no idea, your friends aren't going through this. You're only going to talk to your mom so much. You're only going to talk to, Adam
who was
so
his
much.
father.
Right.
Yeah. Your husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he just, we did have some conversations, but it was very clear that these things.
All this stuff, maybe it's just me because this is all normal.
Yeah.
So at the Webster School District, junior high starts in 6th grade, where you go K through 5, at least to where we're at. And then 6th grade, all the K through 5s, there's 4 of them and they feed into a 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I would have not. The funny joke is Ashley went to orientation and they sat the parents down for 4 hours talking about this is the hardest year. They're not going to, takes a while to find their tribe. They're going to go through all kinds of mean girl shit and mean boy shit. And I didn't know, I thought it was going to be a 15-minute to an hour long. Yeah, social studies isn't there, science isn't there. I didn't realize, so I skipped it and still haven't heard the fucking end of it. But Ashley sat there for 4 hours. And now I wish I would have gone just because they didn't do that when I was in 6th grade. This is it, but it's the social, I guess, hierarchy or class system starts really, and kids go fucking through it.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And
on both ends too, it's your whole body is changing internally and externally, which means you're interacting with yourself differently and others are interacting with you differently. And
everything. Your self-worth is so based on how others perceive you and how it makes you feel valued.
And so when you're changing, especially if he was you said maturing kind of fast, it's I remember the first boy that got tall in my junior high.
Right. Just
you've always shamed short people.
You don't get shorter with puberty. I don't know what you want me to say. Unless that's what happened with...
No, it didn't. I got shorter with parenthood. Stress.
Anyway. It's gotta be so long.
But, and knowing where like the story goes, like this is why I parents that are listening to this are probably like, oh, this is normal.
And it was.
And but it's, it's not normal too. It's not normal to Zack. It's not normal to Charlie.
Right.
The kid that's going through it, it's their whole world.
Mm-hmm.
They're the only ones, and they think. And, we try to fit in. I mean, I think the first cigarette I probably had was drag I had was in like 7th grade.
Sure.
Really?
Probably.
I was 22. Keep going.
Yeah. And then, my first addictive drug was, female. And notice I didn't say anything crass there, but that was my first problem.
Yeah.
They wouldn't stay away from me. Sorry.
Oh my God. Next. Oh my God. Next.
Back to Zack. Did girls come around, or was he?
So he was like I can remember talking to, Adam and saying like, I'm going to kick the first girl who breaks his heart's ass.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
I'm going to hold this resentment. And it was almost like we actually had conversations like, do you even like these girls you're calling your girlfriend?
Right.
Because it was just like one after another. And I think it just having those talks with him, I feel like it was more of that, like, again, that belonging,
Mm-hmm.
that sense of popularity is starting to come out. And he, just being goofy, funny Zack was starting to bother him now. So it was interesting how looking at those changes and then obviously what led up to that night, because we've racked through our brains over and over, like, how did this even happen? And, truthfully, well, probably.
As I said, do you ever stop doing that? It's, even though and everybody can tell you stop. I think I've come to terms in my head as far as how things likely went, just kind of based on, Ben's testimony and just the way the crime scene looked. But there's so many other things that, we don't have answers to. We'll never have answers to. But it does just, kind of that behavior we went through in 6th grade, it all just kind of, I don't want to say it makes sense because that sounds horrible, but it definitely, you can see that trend happening now in kids, 11, 12 years old, where as opposed to my generation, you really didn't start to have those feelings or that want to experiment or anything until, 15, 16, 17. Sure. Well, and we say it all the time, there is no margin for error.
Yeah.
And your whole reality is based in this. And I think one of the message in early prevention that you're trying to, we talked about it before going on air, is that it's your purpose now. A purpose you never thought you'd have.
Right.
That has completely consumed you and to, not scare people, but a little bit like, guys, there are so many. I was talking with Aaron on Wednesday night. There's a lot of parents out there that either they've lied to themselves so much that it can't be that it's not their kid, it won't happen to their kid.
Absolutely.
That is, or because it's too fearful to go to admit the reality that everybody's at risk of this.
I think parents, caregivers, there is that lack of wanting to say, oh, my kid's a straight A student. He's an honor roll star athlete, would never, and that was kind of my big take, was that we are a very normal family. Zack was not raised around violence. He wasn't raised with addiction. Both loving sides, both my family, Adam's family. Raised as an only child. So he was raised around a lot of adults. And maybe that was why he was always so quick to, want to make friends, is that's all he's known. But it definitely, those changes, I think, are what probably led to that mindset he had that night.
To just try it.
Yeah. I think,
Which I just want to keep going. You said it. I said it earlier. It really is. It's not abnormal.
Yeah.
It's normal for curiosity at that
Absolutely.
age to do something like this. And, you know, I say that, I mean it from the core, but, you know, there's absolutely no blame on Zack for this. There's no blame on you for this. How do we prevent it from happening to another mom and son? You know, there's nothing you could have done different. What we have to do is just make people more aware of the dangers of this. So even the folks that are grown-ups using are making better decisions, even in their addiction, because this is not, you know, somebody taking a couple shots of the vodka bottle and filling it with water so they don't get caught. This is not that. This is.
I think kids just, they have to understand that, you know, curiosity and experimentation is incredibly normal.
Sure.
It's one of the things I focus on when I do speaking events. Okay. I can't stress it enough. I feel like it's this just innate part of all of us, you know, that curiosity factor of, well, I wonder what it's like to drink alcohol, you know, such and things like that. You know, Zack definitely went his first time experimenting, went way out on a limb. You know, his friend, when Ben testified, when he said when he found the drugs in the home, he thought it was cocaine.
Right.
And so.
Because it was a white powder?
Correct. Well, he found it in some capsules, found a shot glass full of capsules on a table outside his bedroom door, and he took them. And he testified that later that night, he used like the back of a video game controller and cut up lines on his table. I have no doubt in my head he was, you know, likely telling Zack, hey, we're going to stay up all night. We're going to play video games. I mean, that is what I've come to conclude in my head of how it would have panned out.
And is that because, and we're using the name Ben for a couple different reasons. One, to protect the, you know, but there's a lot of, you know, legal reasons. But is that because during the testimony, that wasn't disclosed? Well,
so Ben had adamantly admitted that he had never done drugs before.
Okay.
When all of the toxicology came back, he had methamphetamine in his system in addition to fentanyl, whereas Zachary just had fentanyl. So it led us all to assume, obviously, that it wasn't Ben's first time experimenting, you know, even at 12.
Sure.
And that is why in my head, it just makes more sense to me.
Got it.
Why, you know, Zack would look at this. And we talked to him about drugs, you know, so he was aware of what cocaine was. But it would, in my head, make more sense, even as impulsive as he was, for his friend to say, I've done this before.
Sure.
We're good.
We stay up all night, play video games.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, one of them is watching their parents do this shit and stay up all night and have like a great time. And the other one is like, oh, well, my parents have always been supportive and safe. And so that's what parents are. If you're telling me it's good and it's your mom's.
Right.
Yeah. So like, I see what you're saying, that, you know, Zach's relationship with parents.
Because you did such a good job. Adults are safe for him.
They're safe. And he had no idea.
No.
It's not his job to know that the parents of his friend are not safe adults.
Right.
And like, that's not normal. Like, that's so abstract.
What I always thought so much too, as far as Ben, and he had a younger sister, that this was normal. And, you know, we can go back, and I don't really touch base with this too often, not because it's not important, but it's just there's always a time limit. It really stresses the importance of prying and knowing where your kids are staying the night. So Zack had stayed at Ben's house a few times before this night. Ben had stayed the night at ours. You know, his stepfather raised rabbits. I mean, there was, you know, with the kids in the neighborhood, Ben's parents were always known as very strict. Ben was always grounded. So
really,
because they didn't want to have to know where he.
I don't.
Sorry, let me.
No, but I agree. Like there's so many things.
Okay.
So with that, strict parents.
Yeah.
Even throughout the other kids in the neighborhood, I never had that fear or any thought that I should be, delved into a little bit more who these people are. Clearly I should have, case nut's a beautiful thing, but I'm
not Ashley case nutted my ass before she'd go on a date with me, as you say, well done. But,
I think everybody should do it.
It's such a beautiful thing.
Not ever case netted like a friend that Charlie's hanging out with parents.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't.
You don't think about
You
this
don't.
shit.
You don't.
And I say that and I know you've done so much work, and who am I? But I just always want to try to do just a little bit to take a little bit of guilt. Like this is not.
Well, yeah, my mom. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're all right.
Like when I was growing up, she was very strict about is there an adult that's going to be around? Blah 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 blah. Which, thank you, Mom. And also, she was coming from a place of fear of others, which instilled in me a fear of others.
Right.
It's safer to stay at home than to risk. And growing up, my home was not great. So I was literally everything is scary and I'm terrified. And it's that's not. Yeah. It's both ends of the spectrum are so. What do you want to raise your kid to believe about others?
Right.
I think our rule, now that just playing it back, is if he's going to spend the night somewhere, because he's 12, there's going to be a grown up. And the same thing if if he's going to have a friend over today, unless it's a babysitter type of arrangement, then there needs to be an adult home.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
but then adults are.
But then, right, to kind of what you said earlier about Ben's reality, or excuse me, Zach's reality of parents are you. So he think it's easy that you go over to your friend as a kid. You think, oh, well, your parents are like my parents,
right?
And it's
just parents in general,
right? Or
this
safe
is
people.
How parents should be, right?
They're normal, and it's so. He went over on this night in August.
Yes, so he stayed the night. It was a Saturday night, August 28th. And I had Life 360 on our phones. I had geofences everywhere, that popular areas he went. I knew when he was at Ben's house, how long he had been at Ben's house, everything.
When he was sneaking out with the girls.
Right.
You had him?
As best as I could. And, the 29th, that morning, it was Sunday and normal, Zach stayed the night. I told him he didn't need to come home, right away. Normally it's okay, you need to take your medicine. But the weekends we were kind of getting, I think, a little bit more lax on the ADHD meds on the weekends.
Sure.
He was off the patch at that point. We were just doing multiple doses of, I think, Adderall at the time. And he asked he sent me a text that Saturday and asked me if he could spend the night at Ben's house. And I sent him a text back, just kind of joking and this and that. And it never said delivered. And I knew when all of my texts got to Zach, I knew when he read them, it never said delivered. So I wound up calling him, got to talk to him on the phone. I got to tell him I love him one last time. I am a very spiritual person. And I, regardless of what we believe, that was for me, my moment of getting to hear, I love you too, Mom. Because that was the last I heard. And who would have thought? Last words. I love you too, Mom. Yeah. And then that morning is when, the police came knocking on the door on that Sunday morning. And just obliterate, completely. Yeah. I always feel like I would have that mother's intuition, something's not right. Something happened. I checked my Live 360 and he was still at Ben's house. Nothing out of the ordinary for me that morning. And even when the police came, it was very clear they had no idea who I was as a parent, nothing, because Lieutenant Seitz, he would have thought he's become a very close friend. He was like, who lives here, very with a very authoritative kind of tone to his voice.
Treating you probably the same way that he treated.
And in all aspects, I totally get,
right, yeah. And you're like, oh my God, what?
Well, the first time I had asked what was going on, and I had really thought something happened to Zach's dad, truthfully. And
his bio.
Yeah, his bio. He just kind of randomly exited Zach's life, and he'd been close to 2 years at that point. And he had been in, some legal troubles, things like that. So I get it.
Yeah, you're not.
It's the last thing you think. And he asked who all lives here. And when I had said, my son Zach, he stayed the night at a friend's house. And he said, Thomas Noonan's house. He was the stepfather. And I said, no, so-and-so's house. And that's when I asked literally the first time what was going on. We all came and he was with the middle school resource officer. So obviously when that person, I started thinking, kid, you've been in school a week, literally 5 days. You're good. There's been no phone calls.
Right.
Excuse me. And we were in the living room. We were joking about our elderly cat. I mean, literally there was nothing going on that made me think something had happened to Zach.
When you say we, you're talking about the resource officer.
And then, Lieutenant Seitz. And then myself.
And they're joking about cats?
We were just sitting in my living room making small talk, joking.
At that point.
Right. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And then, I just finally said again, what's going on? And that Seitz, he didn't hesitate. He just said, Tiffany, there's no easy way to say this, but Zachary's deceased. And that was just, it was complete silence for me. Like everything just totally stopped.
Right.
I instantly kind of became hysterical, crying, screaming. At this point, Adam is still upstairs asleep. And so things are being said to me. And I remember I jumped up and Officer Gibson, he was the middle school resource officer. He jumped up with me and I was just like, I need Adam. I have to get Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And, Officer Gibson had said, you're too unstable. I can't let you go by yourself. And I just kind of glanced at him and just kind of bolted upstairs.
Right.
And as I'm turning the corner to go down the very, very small hallway to our bedroom, I just start screaming, Adam, Zachary's dead. The police are here. Zach's dead. And I flung open our bedroom door, and I remember very vividly watching him just like bolt upright in bed with this intense look of what is going on.
Right. Why would you say something
all
like
I could say again was, the police are here. Zachary's dead. That's all I could say.
And you didn't know anything more than...
had no clue. No clue what had happened at that point. I don't remember.
I was going to ask you when did it become a blur?
So I'm not sure if Seitz told us before my parents were there or not. Right. Adam was downstairs with me, and I know Officer Gibson asked if there was someone they could call for me. So I gave him my phone. He called my parents. They were on their way over. They had no idea what was going on at all.
Until they got to the house.
The house. And so my parents, very, very close with Zach, especially my dad. And my mom instantly came into the living room towards me, and I'm crying and I scream out, Zach's dead. And my dad was with Adam, and Adam told my dad, and he just said he just kind of crumbled. And so that when we're all together, that is when we learned that, it looked like at that point it was suspected to be a drug overdose. And my head's just like completely spinning. I have no, reason to think, what are you talking about? We learned then too that the family was very well known amongst the police department.
Tiffany, real quick.
Yeah.
they had asked when they were at the door about this Thomas Noonan?
No, so when I opened the door when they first came, Seitz was the one who answered, and he instantly said Tiffany.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
Are you with the feds?
Right. And he introduced himself and asked if he can come in. And then when he was stepping in, that's when he introduced Officer Gibson. And then it was the course of we're standing in the entryway. It was actually Adam's office into our house. And, he's scanning everywhere. And that's when he said, who lives here? And when I said my son, Zack, that's when he said, Thomas Noonan's house. And I had no idea. I didn't even know he was Ben's stepfather. Ben always referred to him as dad. So I just assumed it was his dad, different last names. So when he said Thomas Noonan, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? You know?
So now you guys are in the living room and it's coming to light. And this is Lieutenant Seitz knows this family.
Yeah.
From
very long.
Sure.
Yes.
Small town. And B, when you're in and out of drugs, the cops know who you are.
Yes. Yes. So that's where the big aha moment of kind of knowing and
you still like they may say it, but you still are like, wait, he's like this. There's drugs over there. Like that's right. It can't be something that makes sense.
Well, I just kept thinking when he said it looks like an overdose, and all I kept thinking was, what the hell did you overdose on? Like I fully admit I knew of fentanyl. I knew how prevalent it was in Franklin County. I'm fully aware of it. I know how lethal it is, but I never ever thought I had to worry about my 12, 13-year-old being exposed to it. I was not fully aware of, now how fentanyl is being laced in things. Every parent, right?
We opened this treatment center in 23, and some folks that I know that are 7, 8, 9 years clean and sober off of a heroin addiction.
Yeah.
It was before fentanyl was a thing. So 21's 5. It's not, the parents aren't knowing.
Right.
They still don't know
what
it is and how it's everywhere and how lethal it is.
Yes, that's exactly it.
So in 21, you're not going to go, oh, right. That's fucking, this whole thing is, I'm so sorry. Like, this is just every parent's absolute worst nightmare.
Definitely. So many, just unanswered questions. And it was obviously speculated what had happened. Ben, they wound up taking him to the hospital lader on.
So he also got sick?
Yeah.
Did he overdose?
So he somehow Ben survived. I'm not sure. I think that's where we have a lot of so many unanswered questions. Sure. Ben testified that he snorted maybe a little less than half of a line he had made and instantly put his head down on his desk and was out. So for us thinking of it, we can't imagine, anybody watching their friend do a drug and then becoming unresponsive.
Let me try that.
Right.
Sure.
So that's where we have question of, was it something that they did at the same time? Was it something that Ben instantly, did, and then Zack jumped up and super, super quick did it too? We don't know. It was very clear on how Zack's body was positioned that he was kneeling at the time when he did it. There's so many questions, so many that we know we'll never have answers to.
To be able to even go there, I don't know how, and to talk about and go through a trial and talk about like his body position it's horrific.
There's, I think it's, people have to be aware, like you talk to your kids or this is going to be your fate. It truly will. We talked to Zack. We had many conversations, we weren't parents who thought, oh, he's going to never try anything.
Right. Yeah.
But I didn't talk about fentanyl. I didn't. And I had an opportunity. He pretty much opened that door for me, telling me, heroin's the worst drug out there. And I should have talked about fentanyl. But again, I didn't. I wasn't aware how available it is.
Yeah. You think you're going to get fentanyl in an alley from somebody making a drug deal.
Yes.
Not when you're going over to and the grown-ups in the room it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
So when the cops told you as your worst seconds and hours of your life, they said he's at the hot, where they taking him, or they taking him, where the pair, like
they were very early in the investigation when they did come by.
Okay, yeah.
They only came over as early as they did because there was a scanner somewhere in my neighborhood, and they were concerned someone else would tell me before they could. So there really wasn't a lot of answers at that point, just all the questions. It looked like an overdose. Lieutenant Seitz did come back later that afternoon, and that's when he said they did arrest the 3 adults. So Andrew Amelong, the friend, Thomas Noonan, the stepfather, and Christian Noonan, Ben's mom.
They were all in the home.
There was another, Christian Noonan's mom lived in the home at the time. She's poor health at that point. She's since passed away. And then Ben's younger sister. So Ben was 12 when this happened. I think his little sister was 9, I think. So he came back, said that they had arrested all of them and had issued warrants for blood and urine samples, and that they had taken Ben to the hospital. It was kind of noticed that with all this commotion going on. And when you watch the police cam videos, you see he's just laying there on a couch, like dead asleep. And there's just chaos everywhere.
Ben or Zack?
Ben.
The body cam videos?
Yeah, the police body cam videos.
Like when they went in there?
Correct.
You watched those?
They were all in court.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
So both trials.
Wait, so how... and you don't have to answer it.
Oh, I'll answer anything. It's okay.
Who called the cops?
So we think, they used Zachary's phone. So what had happened, I feel like I'm getting so...
No, it's okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
The Psy was at the situation, not you.
So Ben stated that he woke up kind of in the middle of the night, and he remembers that Zack didn't look right, but he was still very under the influence. He really couldn't speak. He couldn't cry out. He couldn't even fully lift up his head and turn and look. And then I think the 911 call was made around 9. So Ben said when he first, kind of came to that morning, at first he thought maybe it was all a dream, like seeing Zack or partially seeing Zack. And then that's when he saw Zack laying dead. And Ben instantly threw up, and that was actually where they found part of the evidence, the trash can that he had thrown up in. Some of the capsules he had opened were actually in that trash can. So I think Ben grabbed Zack's phone, went and got his mom. And I don't know if Ben dialed 911 and then gave her the phone. There was all this talk through basically just the stepfather's trial of like, oh, we did CPR and this. You didn't fucking do CPR. That kid had blood all over his face. There was zero evidence that CPR was even attempted. Not that it would have mattered.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
fucking humanity. Man.
That's just kind of the thing. Like what, even through
lie about it. Like you said earlier, you're going to fucking try to.
That was the thing.
Bond. Like just stay fucking put.
That was the heart. Like Andrew Amelung's trial, his lawyer very clearly said he is guilty of bringing these drugs into the home, but he's not guilty of intentionally knowing that this was going to end someone's life. So that was kind of the pull that defense attorney tried, whereas Thomas Noonan's attorney tried to blame Zack, tried to blame Ben, tried, basically, I think
Lawyers.
he actually made a reference when he was cross-examining Ben. He actually said something like, yeah, so you do these drugs, you wake up, you find your friend in this goofy ass position. So to hear that said in relation to my son, lying dead on a bedroom floor, to refer to it as a goofy ass position. When I gave my impact statement at sentencing, I sure as fuck made it a point to make sure that defense attorney knew how well I appreciated the comment of goofy ass position. No, I just, I
good for you. Fuck.
There's just some things that, the first trial, the defense
this
attorney.
Fucking guy's not getting paid a thing for this fucking Noonan character, and he's like, it was not that would justify this asshole,
or just trying to
behavior towards
make it seem like,
putting a kid on trials,
right? Nobody's truly to blame here. No.
So how I look at it, Zack and Ben, they're responsible for the choices that they made that night. They are responsible for the choice. But the issue is they should have never been given the opportunity to make the choice.
It's that.
And that is the big difference in all of this.
They didn't choose.
They didn't choose. Correct.
They did not choose to do something with fatal consequences.
Correct.
No fucking way.
Right. They did not have the knowledge to know, they didn't. And I think that's one of the huge things why I've always made it such a point to, to talk it. And it's about educating our children and not being afraid to talk to them about Zack. For the love of God,
right.
Let them know this 13-year-old kid died 8 days after he turned 13 because he tried drugs while staying the night at a friend's house.
So they made the arrest. They said they've arrested. They got warrants for blood and urine.
Mm-hmm.
All the adults came back toxicology positive for.
So Amelung and Noonan, Thomas Noonan's stepfather, fentanyl and methamphetamine. Christian Noonan had methamphetamine, which is her drug of choice, is what prevented her from being charged in Zachary's death.
Oh my God.
So the first guy, Andrew, what was he convicted of?
So both he and Thomas Noonan were convicted of endangering the welfare of a child, causing death, and endangering the welfare of a child's serious injury. So they were both sentenced to the maximum. Thomas Noonan, in the time period from Amelung's trial and then Noonan's, they had put into law that if there's a repeat offender, then an additional 5 years can be added on to their sentence. So whereas Amelung was sentenced to 30 years for Zack and 10 for Ben.
What? 30 years for
Zack's death.
Only 30 is insane.
That's actually really good. I don't mean to. That's another thing.
Really?
30 years is when you first told me the severity of their sentences. Yes. I mean, people are getting that's a big fucking.
It kind of led us to set a new standard.
Yeah.
Because it's not a sentence that most are given.
I was shocked when you told me what Andrew's sentence was.
Yes.
10 years?
Because you told me it's like he got 40 years. And I'm like, that is, I mean, there's people that pull a trigger and kill and
15 years
and get the 15s and are out in 7, that type of shit. So and then when you told me what the stepdad got.
So his was
like as fucking heartbreaking as even when you were telling me the story. I was like, well, I was so shocked at the justice that was dealt to them, because I just wasn't expecting that.
It's especially, I mean, all the things that I've heard too, and there's such a fine line that people try to deal with as far as charging the drug dealers versus that sort of thing. Zack's case, the only thing that made his death certificate say accidental fentanyl poisoning and not homicide was because he had just turned 13. Had he been 12, his death certificate would say homicide.
No shit.
No shit.
That's weird.
Yeah. So I think they look at it.
What a fucking weird technicality that is.
So
Makes
many,
no sense.
There's so many bizarre things. It has to do with thinking of the age of, did you know what you were doing?
Age of accountability.
Right.
When I turned 13, my
change.
mom said, you're at the age of accountability.
Yeah,
I
yes.
can try, but you're going to decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck.
Oh
God.
Would you rather the death certificate say homicide?
So I felt kind of cheated.
Yeah.
I was actually, my mom, we were out of town when toxicology came back. It was like 13 weeks after Zach's death, I think. And then the death certificate, when we were told, I want to prepare you, it's going to say homicide. Sure. And then truthfully, it wasn't until the second trial where I understood the difference of why it was really, it's age, 13 versus 12.
One day.
Yeah.
It's a day.
Yeah. I mean, basically that's it. Yeah.
That's how stupid that is.
It's just very interesting.
What would be the real tragedy is if it was that connotation on a death certificate that lessened a sentence.
Right.
To the grown-ups in the room that, let's not kid ourselves. This isn't, they didn't go out on the street that day and say, I'm going to go buy some fentanyl caps and try it today. This is not their first time.
Right.
You obviously have a severe addiction plus horrible decision making, and I'm still giving them too much credit, to be that fucking reckless.
Well, the irony, so Thomas Noonan's biological daughter actually passed away from fentanyl poisoning maybe 3 weeks before Zachary's death.
Fucking screaming.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah, and he tried to play that like sympathy card, like, after my daughter died, I vowed I would never have fentanyl in the house again.
Oh my God.
So Zach died 3 weeks after his own daughter.
Have fentanyl in the house again.
So he still said throughout his whole thing was, these weren't my drugs. Yeah. I was at a friend's house that night
multiple children.
doing a lot of fentanyl, but I didn't bring any home with me. That was his whole, yeah. So, yeah.
So the first trial, how long did it last? You said it started 7 months after.
No. So
that was the arrest.
That was just the arrest. Yeah. So the first trial.
No.
Fuck.
Not that easy.
Right. Strap it.
So first trial, I believe, November of 23.
And this is all Franklin County?
Correct. Yeah. So you learn.
Then was there media coverage?
So there was Channel 4 did some media coverage on it. They did, goodness, when did they interview me? I don't even remember. I think twice.
That is, and this was in 23?
Correct.
We have a connection. We filmed a commercial here in 23 in Channel 4, so I know some of the folks there. This is wild.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and this, I mean, we're the same, Washington and Swansea might be an hour and 15 minutes away, but it's the same weatherman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Steve Temple put the sleeves up. And shit's getting real if he's got those sleeves up. So it's the same community. And I'm glad there was press coverage. Feel like an idiot that I missed it. I don't.
There really wasn't.
Dialed into this shit.
Initially, at the time of his death, they did do. Channel 4 came out. They were there at the street. They had it all taped off and everything.
21. Okay.
So they were there in 21. There was a news reporter at that time who had reached out to me. She's not there anymore. She was very, very pushy.
Interesting.
And I just kept thinking, I just found
That's
the last fucking thing I need right now.
Or at least I think I just kind of felt like, show me a little sympathy here. But I just remember feeling like, you are so pushy, lady. And I was actually on my way to, I think it was one of the bond reduction hearings. So I never,
Timing was impeccable.
Yeah, I never reached back out to her. And then I got contacted again, and that was John Kipper was who I spoke to then. And that was a totally different experience, much better.
I will say that I remember it was the first day we opened, June 12th of 2023. And they were coming out to do I think it's I don't want to mix up the channels, but a Great Day. There's some segment on Channel 4. And I remember the reporter, very, very great at what she does. Also, you know, she's very pretty, blonde.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so she came out with a friend that works at Channel 4 and a cameraman, and we were setting up lights where you signed in, and our first admit got dropped off as they're like, kill the cameras. They were so respectful, and it changed. We were walking, like they saw him walking. I saw myself in the mirror. This guy walking in looked just like me. No. And the day I checked in, and she, they were so opposite of like that.
Disrespectful. Yeah.
I mean, and it was, you could tell like she got teary eyed about, we could have set it up, but we were just there to do this quick interview with the CEO here and kind of tell a little bit of his story. And she was incredible. And so, and then seeing someone desperate enough to walk into treatment.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't have created, like it would, you know, people were like, did you do that? No, I mean, it wasn't on, we turned the cameras off obviously for protection and HIPAA and all that, but it impacted her and the cameraman and the guy that set it up for Channel 4. So, I'm glad, you know, they're not all like, you had that experience.
No, like I said, that was the first time and the only time. I have had nothing but.
It's so wild that I don't get it, but there's so much about this that is so hard. Zoe had to go potty. She's
like I said, bladder of a goldfish over here.
And feel free if you need to run out. We got all night. So, you're the 7 months indictment charges to all of them?
No,
just Andrew
and Thomas.
Okay.
So I learned at that point, too, that because Christian only had methamphetamine in her system, not fentanyl, that's when we were told that she was not going to be charged directly.
That was then.
Correct.
Did she testify?
No, she was later indicted by the grand jury in December of 22 and arrested. She was charged with child endangerment regarding her own children and then drug possession because methamphetamine was also found in the house.
And what happened to those charges?
So ultimately, she pled guilty to child endangerment. They dropped the drug charge and she was given probation.
Probation?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was.
And she didn't testify?
No.
She could have.
She could have
been a good. Was she been of? I mean, I guess the maximum was dealt, but
it's hard to say if she would have been. That was, one of the big. It's just such a very. That's where you understand.
Sorry to get criminal justice on this horror story.
No,
I just there's a little distraction from like the broken heart and wanting to vomit it for the broken heart of your story and Zack's story. The criminal justice. I'm always, I'm a big nerd on the Law and Order TV show, but wondering how this plays out. Cause like you said earlier, you really learn the good, bad and ugly, maybe of the criminal justice system when you're in it. And the thought of her, I mean, they came down hard from just what we talked about with Zoe. And then it seems like very not hard.
Like a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. And even probation for child endangerment, knowing that this child endangerment case resulted in the death of a child.
So if she had pled not guilty and they went to trial, the prosecution would have obviously brought up Zachary's death in relation. But because Zachary only had fentanyl in his system, he died of fentanyl. So you can only charge in relation to his death those with fentanyl in their systems, because that's what ties it together. So because she didn't, there was no tie, despite the fact that there was fentanyl found in her bedroom, despite that she knew the drugs were in the home, but it all comes back to the legal end of it all.
Did the state intervene with the daughter and
so they did, yes. I know that the kids
hopefully
were
removed them from this fucking home.
They were removed and put in foster care with a relative of their mom, I think. So at least they were kept within the family.
Kinship
I don't know the circumstances of how that was. I do know that at the time, even before the second trial, both kids were back with their moms. So they were only out of the home. I don't even.
That's wild.
Yeah. So it was, another lesson learned.
I mean, the story, the victims are multiple.
Yeah.
So the trial starts for Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
How long did that last?
Started on a Monday and verdict was on a Thursday.
Oh, wow.
I believe.
So at least that part was.
Yeah. So both were really quick.
Was it a jury trial? Or?
Yes. Yes.
And it didn't take them very long.
It took about an hour and a half.
Holy shit.
So the factor that came into play with Amelung's trial was his defense attorney, the word knowingly. So to convict of the serious charge regarding Zachary's death, there was the word knowingly was in there, meaning you had to knowingly do these actions, realizing that death could be a result. And his attorney kept arguing he didn't know that this would happen. And then the prosecution, makes a comment, something about.
Are these like closing arguments that I can hear? I can see the TV show of him saying.
Yeah. So they did. Both defendants actually took the stand during their trials. So that was a shit show from the standpoint of it all. But Amelung, the prosecutor had done something about, would you ever willingly bring poison into that house? And he was like, no, of course not. And, then they're talking and then, somehow he relates fentanyl to poison. Yeah. And I think that's where the hang up was with that jury, because the defense attorney gave them something to think about. They had an option of a lesser charge. You don't know the maximum sentencing for that lesser charge. Had he not been found guilty of the charge in Zachary's death and they did a lesser charge, he would have likely not done any time because of time served from when he was first arrested till when his trial started. That's how much of a difference there was between that Class A felony and the second. So
the arguments done, jury goes out, and then were you thinking it was going to be quick, or do you think it was going to be days?
No, I knew we would get it. We would get something back that day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had no doubt. It was just.
And you're living at the courthouse at this?
Yeah, I feel like we, Adam and I always talk. We were in Union the other day, and I was like, wow, we're in Union and we're not going to court.
Like, so that's where the courthouse was?
Yeah, Franklin County Courthouse. It's in Union. It's about 10 minutes outside of Washington.
Sure. Yeah.
Courthouse, yeah. I feel like
hard to go there? Drive past it?
No, I think because, I met a lot of very good people.
I bet.
And I can say that even regarding the judges in both their cases.
Sure.
Just made it a very huge point when everything was said and done.
Yeah.
To offer.
Thank God there's like, some degree of,
humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all along, I will say that Thomas Noonan was. So Andrew Amelung was given both sentences to be served concurrently.
Okay.
Whereas Noonan was consecutively. So we had great joy and happiness with that.
So when they bring everybody back into the courtroom and you guys sit down and they do the whole.
Yeah.
Was it a one down, one to go, or how did you feel when you heard them? Was there some
guilty for Amelung? Yeah. We thought one down, two to go.
Okay.
Yeah. It really, even through Amelung's trial, everything just screamed Noonan so much, even in that trial, that it was almost like.
How old are these human
I
beings?
believe
Right.
early mid 60s.
Holy fuck.
What?
I know that Ben's mom, she's early 50s, like maybe she's just a few years older than me, I think. But yeah, Amalung and Noonan. I think Noonan at the time, I think at the time of his hearing, he was 64, maybe. So one of the things you also learn, though, about the judicial system is that despite the sentences, once any inmate turns 70, they're automatically eligible for parole.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping he was younger. So because now I'm
Right.
like, this guy's going to die
So-
soon, and fuck that.
Right. So that was another, it's just kind of a slap in the face over and over.
I had no idea that's a thing.
I didn't either. I didn't either. So, because I thought it was odd when I got the parole board, or I guess that's what they're called, when I got that letter that his parole is scheduled, and I think it was like 6 or 7 years from when his trial, and I thought, oh, that's awful quick. And then that's when I learned that when they turn 70, yeah. I mean, unless obviously it's like life with no parole, things like that.
Okay.
But
So it's life with possibility of parole.
so they,
But then he's got the kids. Then he's got the 15.
so right. So I'm it's all, like I said,
They fucked with the wrong mama, because I have a feeling. You're
Yeah,
gonna get every
that's
one of those fucking.
absolutely. It doesn't matter where they'll be in Missouri somewhere.
Yeah,
so
fine.
it doesn't matter where.
You need a crew. We'll be there.
Right.
Yeah,
Fucking do
I'm
a
like,
podcast with this shit.
yeah.
So Andrew gets convicted, and then what's the time frame for the Thomas Noonan trial?
Noonan went to trial
And he's bonded out.
he had bond. He was out the whole time up until his trial. So his trial was in May of 25.
What?
Was it? How were you keeping an eye on him?
Oh God, yeah. I am a CaseNet pro.
Were you
joke-
driving past the house?
No,
or-
so it's hard for me.
Sure, I was going to ask.
It is. It's hard for me. Adam and I drove by not too long ago. It was the first time.
I
and-
get that, man.
And we know somebody else is living there now.
Oh, good to know.
So that was just weird for me.
Sure.
And I don't have words for it. The fact that somebody's living there, just driving by and thinking, that's where my son died.
Do they know?
Right. Then do they know what happened? Do they? So many questions. But again, it's just more of letting my head take it to,
Right.
you know, those bad rabbit holes.
Spiral.
Because once it gets in your head, then I mean, it connects to that soul and gut and heart, and it just rips.
It's pretty, they always talk about those stages of grief. And I was talking to you when we had coffee about this, how when everything is said and done, there's almost like an emptiness for me, just because for 4 years, I've gotten up every day like, all right, buddy, here we go again. Let's kick some ass, and when that was all done and over, and I just kind of sat back, and it was then I feel like is when the reality of everything kind of hit a little harder, but it was, little memories that,
the hurt is
that
there.
it wasn't as, I hate,
anger might not be as.
I hate saying it wasn't as prominent during the trials, because would not be true, but
maybe
I think it was a distraction. Like I had these to focus on. I had making sure that I was going to see these people go to prison. People were going to be held accountable for Zach's death.
Bargaining phase of grief. Like if I can do this,
Yes.
then I'll feel,
Or as long as I get up every day and I'm going to continue living my life for Zach. And
I'll be okay if I do. A,
yes.
B, C.
And I had to, take a little bit of a step back and kind of reevaluate myself and, come to Jesus moment with myself, I guess, of like,
CTJ.
yes, that it's, that
He went to school with Miofsky. Did he plant those seeds at a young age?
I don't think so.
He went to school with Matt. She went to school with Matt and
shit.
Jeff.
Yes. I have memories of Matt from like
Whoa, young
6th
Matt.
grade.
Whoa. Was he really good at math? Was he just like the star pupil?
He was very smart. So he was in the challenge program.
I believe that.
Yep.
I never got into the challenge
didn't
program.
either.
I was like, I am constantly experiencing challenge.
Yep.
I don't understand.
That's different.
Oh, don't I know now? Anyway.
But yeah, always.
Interesting.
And always.
Was he a nerd?
No.
Oh.
No.
Because he played football, didn't he?
So what?
He played football at SLU.
Did
Wash
he
you.
really?
Oh,
Wash
that's
you.
what I meant. I was, whatever, all those acronyms. He did.
I had
Yeah.
no
he did.
idea.
He played Wash U football and
He was
then
doing math.
then
and
started
then
his like
started
fellowship
a youth
of
group.
Christian athletes, and then somebody was like, "You need to be a priest," and he's like, "No, I got a girl like I got Jessica."
Right. I have a girlfriend.
Because they were high school little sweethearts, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
What?
No.
Okay, spill
Yeah,
the
spill it.
different cup of
They
tea.
weren't. That's why when I was like, Jessica Utlout and Matt Miofsky got married. How cute is that?
Right.
Okay.
But no, they
Whoa.
were, always same big group of friends and everything. But I mean, both just truly just as lovely as they are now. Like
Yeah.
even back then,
Jess is great.
they're just incredible
Matt is
people.
alright, too.
He's no,
Hey,
just kidding.
my life, I'll
Just
tell you.
truly, yeah, incredible people. Yeah, no, he wasn't.
I'm gonna text him here in a second and be like, "So you were in the challenge class?
You were in the challenge program,
Right.
elementary school.
Star
Challenge.
pupil.
Smart guy. So was Jess.
He brings his he'll put his like he loves like good graphs and data
Oh,
in his sermons. Even he'll get all mathy.
I love it.
I mean, it does keep you. You can. He's usually like
It's very
point 1, 2, and
systematic.
3.
Ah,
You can take good notes. Yeah.
Like it makes it
Right.
make sense. Anyway, enough about him.
So when Noonan when you heard that jury
Mhm.
read, what was that moment like for you?
fuck yeah. Truthfully,
I fucking love you.
it's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Jury came back in 30 minutes tops, so we had a very good feeling.
Good.
And then how long from that to the victim impact statement?
So he was found guilty May 14th, I believe, of 25. And when did I think it was in August, because it was, I think, 2 weeks after his sentencing, Zack turned 17. So, and even Judge Helfrich was the judge over Noonan's. And when, even during sentencing, he looked over and said, am I correct? Zack would be turning 17. I was like, yes, you will be turning 17. So, yeah, it was.
That's like, that's great. That good of that judge, because
Perspective.
it takes him off a stat or off a piece of paper and out of an exhibit A or B in evidence room, and makes Zack the human that he is by saying that.
So when everything was actually said and done after the sentencing, took Noonan away, and I stared him down like a hawk the whole
I bet you
process.
fucking did.
Stanky.
I had so much fun saying these things to him in my impact statement, everything. But, everybody was gone except like we were all still there. Becker, he's the prosecutor, my victim's advocate, Michaela, my family, and everybody. And, all of a sudden I hear Judge Helfrich go, Miss Foster, please approach. I will tell you, even when you've won, you really don't ever want to hear a judge call
It's like,
you
oh, fuck, what'd I
up to
do?
their
Yeah.
bench.
No, red heart. Brains
yeah.
Fight or flight at that moment. I do it.
Exactly.
Where's the exit?
So I'm
Right.
just like,
Where's the exit?
and it was the kindest man. He's like, I've thought of you. I've thought of you. Oh no, this was after Christian Noonan's. I'm sorry. He was over her husband's and hers. So he also did her plea.
Oh,
That's when it was. I'm sorry. When he called me up, and yeah, he's just, I've kept you guys in my thoughts, and kind of was saying some things in my mom's victim impact statement. She was, she let him have it. It's nice to see my spunky mom getting angry and letting loose in a church, or I'm sorry, not a church, in a courtroom. Just in that he has two, teenagers himself. Sure. And just, it was, I hate saying nice, but again, Zachary is a person, and he's being remembered for his life. And that is what is so important to me, that he wasn't the shithead little kid who was in trouble the minute he could walk. He was a great, old, loving soul. I can't say enough about it. It's just I'm honored to be his mom. I am honored that this is my kid.
Yeah. I love that. That's how it should be.
We, when we post this episode, that picture you showed was incredible.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
text it to you.
Wait, am I asking too much?
Gosh, no, when I first met you, I said, there's
that picture.
There's not a
that
thing.
Picture,
at this point, especially, you've been at the bottom of the trenches.
There is not a
with
thing
these
you can't ask me.
Sure.
You really can't.
Yeah,
nothing.
It would be an ego thing if I thought I could. Yeah, I would love to share his picture and continue to keep, so people have what a gift his smile in that picture is. Since the end of the trials, and you kind of had this reset, my words, maybe not yours.
I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Like, what now? Is that when you joined on with, or did you meet the Addiction Is Real?
I became a board member for Addiction Is Real in 23.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm almost 3 years with them now.
Can you talk a little bit about Addiction Is Real?
Absolutely. I stumbled across them by, I say fate now. I was speaking at an event in Columbia for Compass Health that Addiction Is Real was hosting.
Okay.
And then Erin approached me afterwards.
She is a fucking
So good.
bulldog.
I tell you what.
Love her.
I mean,
Love
she's
her.
just, her personality is so contagious. And the fact that you can be as honest with her as you want. Some of the things, some of the things I've shared with you when we were having coffee, I was like, I think I've only shared this with Erin, and you know what I mean? So
Wednesday night, she was telling me about the body cams, some of this, and she was like, and I'm like, we hadn't gotten there yet. The coffee shop was open and closed by the time we left. But she was like, and then to hear you talk about it, she's like, it's just, she said that there's not too many people she's happy that gets fucking life.
Yeah.
But, and I think I'm quoting her directly on that.
You could be. Yeah. She was pretty.
I mean, that tracks, because she's a fucking, she's wild. She's such a gift. Like I'm really excited to do some work with you guys and whatever it takes to spread this message and the light. So Addiction Is Real. You meet them down in Columbia, Missouri. At the university, or
it was at a church, a very large church, and I don't remember what it was called. I have no idea. But that was not my first time speaking about Zack, but my first big event speaking about Zack. So Erin approached me when it was all done, and we were chatting and talking and everything, and told her I'm on board. I will volunteer. I would love to speak. It'd be great. And then a few days later, called me and asked me to join their board of directors.
Oh my God!
And I since joining Addiction Is Real. So I'm sorry. Back to the purpose. Let me sidetrack
this is all
there.
Great.
This is the main purpose is to educate. Focuses early substance use prevention and education.
Okay.
One of the things that I loved so much before I was even on the board, that Columbia thing, was that they were talking about there are ways you can have conversations with 3 and 4-year-olds about don't take somebody else's medicine. There are ways, and it is to the point to where it is that important that we have to start instilling little things. I'm not saying go to your 3-year-old and start having hardcore conversations about fentanyl, but it's so important to start that education early, and just the importance of initiating those conversations. We are all so afraid. If we talk about it, we're going to make it more real. We're going to influence them. And it is the exact opposite.
Right. Planting the seed for them to start conversations among themselves.
The honesty about it.
Oh, age appropriate honesty. And sometimes I don't even like age. I mean, there would be people that say that some of my conversations with Charlie aren't necessarily age appropriate, but
I'm
I gotta tell him, if you're up there fucking video gaming, it better not be with a fucking pedophile.
Right. I mean, these
don't take a vape because there's
fentanyl, right?
in it.
There's things that you have to have these
Start telling that at
conversations
6.
now.
What's a pedophile, Dad?
My mom as fuck. We're watching SVU from the day I came out of the womb. I'm like,
Olivia Benson over here.
That's why raised Zack on horror movies. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I got Parent of the Year. Are
you still a big horror movie fan?
Absolutely.
Did you watch Scream?
Like the newest one? No.
No. I've been seeing all the previews. And the first one I remember going to the theater to see. I thought it was good, and then I get a little carried away. But it's funny.
I agree. I agree. Anything that I love a good scare.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. And I read horror too.
Okay.
Like
that makes a little more sense for me. The movies, I'm like,
oh, I love it.
very visceral experience. Do you feel like it's because you've experienced the worst fucking horror?
No, because I've
Yeah.
been this way my entire I got in trouble. This is such a horrible thing. You really have to know horror, but when my little brother and I are 11 years apart.
Okay.
And my older brother and I 2.5 years. So it's quite a bit of difference between my younger brother and I, right?
You guys were like more parents for him. At that
Truthfully,
time.
to this day, he's still one of my best
Brooke's
friends.
10 years younger than me, and I parent the shit out of her.
Yeah.
She don't listen.
But I got grounded and my ass chewed when I was 16 because I let him watch the original Evil Dead. Like
I think I can picture the VHS cover.
Probably like Sam Raimi. And
is it scary? Is it?
It is nothing but like gore and
TNA.
Oh my God.
No,
all the good horror movies in the 70s and 80s are TNA.
I mean, they truly. But you realize even then they're rated like PG-13.
Yeah, I know. Like all the Fridays, and there's like full frontals. Sorry, but the point is, in Scream, one of the rules is don't get naked or don't have sex, and you won't get killed.
It's true.
And
it's one of the horror movie rules.
You're safe. Zoe's gonna make it. I'm opening
by
scene.
choice.
I'm opening scene.
By choice.
She has insurance now.
That's right. She might not make the sequel, but she survives the first one. I'm out early. The Pet Cemetery is the scariest movie.
It's good. The book, man, the book was. Whew.
And I would take my Bristy to a cemetery that will bring her back to life, but she'd be mean.
What a psychotic thing, way. You know what I mean? Like this whole concept, everything. That's just.
That's
Go ahead.
That's just how I feel about all scary movies. I'm like, I want a brain scan from each of you motherfuckers who thought of this because you guys are the ones who are
Something's
making
going on,
outside
right?
scary for
Very
me.
true.
Like, I'm like, the world is so scary anyway. I can't even watch the news, let alone like a fucking actually scary movie.
I feel the world is much scarier. Much scarier.
Yeah,
oh my God.
true.
All
Ashley,
scary.
She watched a scary movie and it says she makes her want to go be with Jesus. And so
Literally, yeah.
all she watches. It's like, I think yesterday she wasn't feeling that good. She rattled off 3 Hallmark movies right in a row. The happy endings.
I can't do it.
She gets her hunk from the city, comes back to the farm,
Oh.
It's our love story.
That's how my mother-in-law is. She's a big Hallmark person, but I don't think I've ever watched
Hallmark and Bridgerton are what I'm forced to watch right now.
Nope. We are massive crime people. So
that's
true crime. Yeah, like Thursdays on A&E, I get like 3 hours of legit murder.
Like my mom.
And I love it.
I'll go to sleep to Forensic Files. The voice.
I could probably recite them.
I love like Snap. She's goofy on Snap. I love the Datelines.
First 48.
First 48's good. They need to do St. Louis. I mean,
so they have actually. There's been a few First 48's in St. Louis. Yeah.
Oh no!
They weren't very interesting.
We got plenty of content.
We have a ton. Yeah, no. I've seen a few.
The Birmingham ones were good. I remember there's a big cop on there that I liked. That was
Tulsa
good.
Seems to be like the main ones they do now, which it's a really good group of detectives. Like a
lot of good murder down there.
You really? It's.
I have an actual
Can we
Tulsa.
not? Can we not?
Crazy.
You guys are kind of.
We've
You guys are kind of crazy for this.
I know
Zoe,
I don't
we
under-
have to get out. We had to take a little bit of a break. This is our turn.
Well,
This
this doesn't feel like a break,
therapy.
you guys. This is still. I'm
You're
like,
still-
I'm fucked up over all of it. Oh my gosh.
She's going to check her back as she walks to her car.
Zoe-
Oh, literally, always do.
I gave her a ride. She's going to be dissociated the whole way home.
Yeah, silent transition of just be running through all the bad things that could possibly happen to anyone.
You know, it's what I will say though. Ironically, like after when Zachary passed away, I could not watch any crime.
Oh, I bet.
I couldn't watch anything. And it was actually like I look at it and I still think of it. I mean, now obviously hindsight, always 2020. But then it was so weird to me how watching, you know, things like that. Just I couldn't read things that involved children.
Well, yeah.
It was everything that was just this massive. Yeah.
Can you get back to it a little bit or now or?
I feel like there's such a there's a point where I can no longer tolerate.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Did Zach? Did he like horror movies?
Oh yeah.
I bring that. It seems like it could be.
Though.
Yeah.
Like nostalgic.
So
in a way.
I have a picture of him. I think he was maybe 6, maybe, but he's
You dressed him up.
no.
Okay.
So he was home from a soccer game. He's still in his soccer jersey, and he's in my bedroom. And I go and I walk into my room, and he's laying in my bed wearing a Jason mask, holding
He dressed himself up.
holding a pretend machete, just watching TV.
That's incredible. He is your son.
So Halloween was his favorite. His last Halloween with us, the movie 13 Ghosts. I don't know if you're familiar with. Yeah, I know Zoe's not, but
I'm
he
not.
was.
It's just a jarring name for.
He was one of the ghosts, the
Okay.
firstborn son, and it was like I mean, with Adam being an artist, like that was the
Nice.
best costume
Wow.
ever made in our lives.
I bet
It
he
was-
did pretty good on Halloween.
It was fantastic. Yeah.
Do when you watch horror movies? I mean, it seems like it kind of your thing, and I can see how you can do it in doses. Like
Yeah.
it's, there's probably a point where it gets a lot, but
There's certain real life is
even harder.
Mm.
So addiction is real. You guys are early prevention.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about, because we're gonna try to really help Erin out with something that she's got quickly. But tell us about the trailers.
Oh, as far as our hidden in plain view?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So we've always had kind of a hidden in plain view, which is kind of a bedroom display, and it contains actual different types of stash boxes. Basically, it's over 70 warnings for parents that you wouldn't think would even potentially be something. The bedroom is, we would always break it down, and then if it was part of our speaking event, we would have to put it all up and then break it all back down. So super, super time consuming.
Yeah, stage crew.
Right. Now we are going to turn them into kind of mobile trailers in a sense.
That's
so that we
awesome.
can always have them. We don't have to break them down. We don't have to set them up. They would be air conditioned. We're talking about making some interactive, almost kind of like Easter egg seek and finds, as far as, because it's eye opening. Even when I first started, even some of the things I see now that we've gotten that kids are, using, or potentially a warning sign that your kid's using. I feel like kids are so sneaky these days, though, too, that it's.
Mom wasn't going to find my Playboys,
Right.
So I could. Well, I think we've all know how to hide shit.
Absolutely.
And again, the margin for error.
And these are, the bedroom display contains, even hairbrushes that you can use that have hidden compartments in them.
What?
Cans, Pepsi cans that feel like a Pepsi can, but the bottom
False
unscrews. Yeah. So many different things.
So right now, you guys host a group of parents. How does this work?
So we're all made up of the board and then obviously volunteers. Most of us, all of us, have had our lives impacted by substance use in one way or another.
Sure.
There are three of us who have all lost a son.
Wow.
And yeah, 3 of us, I believe. But the purpose of what we do is to educate and to make people more aware of how prevalent fentanyl is, that you don't have to be a drug addict. Most fentanyl poisonings, I mean, I met parents who lost a son because he was smoking a joint that unknowingly was laced with fentanyl. And just even, drug dealers, they'll even admit that they will sprinkle a little bit of fentanyl in their weed to hopefully make it more potent, because they don't know. Nobody is aware. I mean, 2 milligrams.
Yeah, tell me about
potent?
this.
Yes. So
you're going to go back to that dealer if you get the real good weed.
That's exactly it. If he's got the good shit, I'm going back to him.
So you told me this, and I'm glad you brought it up. I was not going to forget to ask, because it is a stop you in your tracks. I'm not being dramatic here. A life-changing statement you made to me about his toxicology report, about Zack's toxicology report.
So most fentanyl deaths, they say 2 to 5 milligrams is what's considered a lethal dose. And obviously we're not talking about like a fentanyl addict or anything, but 2 to 5 milligrams. So 2 milligrams is enough to fit on the tip of a sharpened pencil. Jesus. So that's the minute amount that it is. Zachary's toxicology had 44 milligrams in his system. So there was some Benadryl in his system. So obviously we knew the fentanyl was cut with Benadryl, but it was a very
44 fucking milligrams.
Yeah. So enough technically that could have been 22 lethal doses.
That came, and then in court, that was hopefully a big exhibit A.
Yeah. So that was, it was brought in. Yeah, obviously the medical examiner with her toxicology and everything. And I think that was actually only brought up as far as the 44 in Amelung's trial. They were trying to break everything down into, as we digest fentanyl, it becomes all these subcategories of fentanyl, and it just gets really into this geeky, super smart
chemist shit.
Not my area at all. But
none of us are women in STEM.
I'm screaming.
But it's
that is
fucking
shocking.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like when she told me that, I almost fell out of my chair.
Does that feel like a punch in the gut every time, or at least some of the time?
I think it's like it's. I just keep thinking, how did these people just? It was brought up during trial that they would go into the city roughly once or twice a month and bring back 40 to 50 capsules of fentanyl, and this went on for 5+ years.
The household would?
Yeah. So we're talking thousands upon thousands of capsules of fentanyl in this home. And I mind-boggling. I just don't.
Parents don't go there. It's not, you don't seek out this knowledge because it's scary as fuck.
Right.
But it is now to the point where, the parents don't, it's a stigma thing too. Parents are scared to death to think that their kids could ever self-harm. Their parents are scared. I mean, I'm including myself.
Of course.
Saying all them, and look at me, I'm scared to death of it. I'm scared to death of even this stuff and talking about it. And it's not fun conversations, and they're heavy, and you don't know, it's just nothing, but you have to fight through that. You have to, as a parent, fight through it, because knowledge is power, and this is not it's not a judgment to the parents to do that, stick their head in the sand, because it's so scary. It's so scary. It's your worst fear.
Yeah.
But you gotta fight the urge. So you guys, how do people go through the bedroom that you guys create? How does that look?
So it's just a walkthrough. It's literally, think of
like scheduled events.
Correct.
Okay.
So when other people would request us to do a speaking event, we have personal story.
Are high schools asking?
Yeah. So when I actually first started with Addiction is Real, most of my speaking was at high schools.
Good.
We haven't been doing that as much. We've been doing more involved in like the bigger kind of events and things like that. I do sometimes speak. Wentzville Middle School every year kind of does a drug prevention program.
Good.
And I have a speaking event there on the 13th of this month. And then
good. Okay.
And that's the only time I've ever gotten to speak to middle school kids. Most of the time when we do speak, it's to adults. I was fortunate to get to speak at the DEA's Teen Summit. That was over probably 500 people, most of them all high school students. So that was great. But I feel like...
How long do you get to... Do they
give you to speak? Yeah. So it really just depends. No. So when I do Wentzville, I'm given 30 minutes, and that is like the maximum I think I've ever been given.
Yeah. I mean, it's you. I can't wait to get you to... Have we booked you at Underground yet?
I don't think so.
Want to share your story, but it's 15 to 20 minutes, and we're having a mom come up, Julie, Wednesday. Aaron's speaking at the end about this trailer. So,
yeah, it's good.
And this episode will drop after that, but this upcoming Monday, I'm trying to rally some troops to build some carpentry skills to build a bedroom out in this trailer because they need it. I think you guys need it in April, which is coming up.
Right. So
we're going to try to make this happen. But I'm, my wheels are spinning. Like, talk to the guys here. I mean, like, is would this be a big enough like this if this were a bedroom where we're sitting?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We have a bunch of empty ones right now.
I mean we have like
that our res and detox is always pretty full, but where we have the studio at is it's a replica of those of our dorms. It's just used for maintenance and supplies, and then we built a studio out in one of the rooms, but there's like 10 rooms here. I don't know. I'm probably thinking, but it's still a possibility. My wheels are spinning on how we can help. Because I think this is so important. So you walk parents through this and you point out like right under your nose shit. Yes, like red flags.
It's making them first, we want to make them aware of this is not an addiction issue. This isn't a discriminatory issue. That drugs are affecting our children. They're affecting our kids much, much younger. It's trying to stress the importance to them of early education. And so we start with the personal stories to kind of hopefully get them drawn in more to understand that, like, I am just like you.
Right.
We are no different. And then we want to give them statistical facts. So we have a wonderful social worker. She lately has been speaking after me. Shout out to the social worker.
Yes. So shout out to the social worker.
It's always SW. So
I love
to save the world.
It's we need more.
That's what the SW stands for.
Save the world. But Whitney is her name. I've heard her speak multiple times, and every time it's just like I'm hearing her for the first time again. She's so incredibly engaging.
I've heard her name in recent conversations.
She is incredible at what she does, how she gets her point across. So it's kind of it's almost like an honor that I get to speak before.
I can't wait to meet her.
She's just phenomenal.
She might be coming Wednesday night.
She knows what she's talking about. It's her ability to present the information, and there is no way you can't stop listening to her. It's just, she's so knowledgeable. The way she presents it is phenomenal. She's got a very fun, energetic personality. And I think that's where things get missed a lot when you're doing speaking events.
People
right.
Talking about heavy shit.
You have to speak to your audience, and there has to be,
I had to turn down a speaking engagement recently.
It's hard when
and the organization asked me to speak to their teens, and they prefaced it by saying, these are teens, so no profanity. And I said, and I go, guys.
So they are the profanity.
I'm like, I just had a 9-year-old on my son's NBA 2K PlayStation game tell me to suck his balls. Like, I cannot. These teens
I will be censored.
That's right.
I mean, these teens that are struggling with addiction, and they're also teens that have been in and out of the juvenile system and foster care. they're not offended by the big bad F word.
Right.
And I don't cuss to cuss, but if I go in there and I'm not my authentic self, their bullshit detectors are fucking on point.
Right.
Exactly.
Chew me up and spit me out.
It makes you.
Because insults are fucking intelligent.
It makes you more relatable. They are going to look at you more as an equal to them if you're not just trying to bullshit the way through it with happy little smiles.
I'm not gonna. So I said I will support your organization and I'll try to find you. I'm just not your person.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, and I don't. But I believe very strongly against that. But I mean, not judging the organization; they're a good organization. These kids need honesty.
Yeah.
They need authentic conversations, and I mean, they don't. Like I said, they have fucking bullshit detectors that are top notch. And if I come in there and shucky darns in them, they're gonna tell me to go fuck myself.
And they want
just like Charlie's the 9-year-old did on fucking NBA 2K.
I'm screaming.
You know. They go, fuck you, boomer, lick my balls. I'm like, I'm sorry.
not a boomer.
Not a boomer.
Hear it sometimes.
Not a boomer, 9-year-old. Go bed. It's past your bedtime.
I'm screaming.
Then I had to walk away because I was like, okay,
You're going to fight with a 9-year-old. Yep.
Charlie's like, he's 11. God, I'm so pissed. Sorry. Sorry. I had a little come apart. They're savages on that fucking gaming shit.
They are. I know.
Savages. I hope to meet Whitney very soon.
She's incredible. Yeah.
And I want to, some of the things we're going to be launching soon, along with Zoe and Ash. We're going to really do whatever we can to support your organization.
Thank you guys so much. That's
we're
so
going to
wonderful.
support it from here, from Pondoff Anonymous. At Underground, we have tons of material out for Addiction is Real. Anytime you want to come,
just let me know.
And I please, I mean, we'll get you speaking, but any Wednesday night.
I know. Tennille and I were talking about that. No, because I can just meet at her house. And,
there you go.
And she's not that far from me. She's
Double
like maybe 20 minutes, I think.
How? And we I don't think we talked about it much at coffee or here, and I realize it's his journey, but how's Adam?
Adam, I think so in all aspects, even like as far as my parents and things like that, when Zack passed away, the big focus is me, it's me. And because of that, you start to forget how much it really does affect other people. Adam has no children of his own. So Zack was a son to him.
Absolutely.
Taught him how to tie his shoes, how to ride a bike. Zack was more afraid of disappointing Adam than he was me. Yeah. So
I'll never be able to relate to a mom. I just don't have, I know there's an extra level there. I used and abused my mother. I know how to manipulate the mom's heart. Relate to Adam being an adoptive father.
Yeah. He,
it's unconditional love of a father.
I was fortunate because Adam and I grieve very similarly. That must be the artist in him. He has that extra emotional ability.
Love hard, man.
Yeah, love very hard.
We see a lot of artists end up with this. Because there's you love hard, your heart breaks hard.
Absolutely. He we always talked very, very openly. Like all those questions you have in your head that you're afraid to say out loud, I was able to say to Adam and vice versa. And it's so fortunate to have that.
Sure.
He, I can remember he had a conversation once and he's like, I feel so bad for all those times that he annoyed me or I got mad. I'm like, that's a fucking parent. That is the epitome. For him. Right. That is being a parent. Yeah. If I felt bad for all the times, right? Like I lost my shit on Zack. I just had to give him a look and he had the fear of God in him because that's how it is. Like didn't lose it often, but when he really got in trouble, he really got in, as it should be.
My drove my fucking old man crazy.
I'm the opposite. I got 3 total spankings in my whole life, and 2 of them were accidents. I didn't know, but once you're scared of what
I was the same way.
Yep. I'm like, whoa.
Only got spanked. Yeah.
Fear of God. Yep. And my mom only had to say, "Do we need to take a trip to the bathroom?"
Oh wow, that's a horror. No wonder why you don't. Yeah,
I would just go like this to Zack.
Whoa.
I used
That's
to.
powerful.
I could turn my eyelids inside out, and I showed it to him.
Oh, God.
When he was a toddler, and he flipped out.
Sure.
So even up until the time of his death, all I had to do was go like this, and he was like, "Mom's gonna lose it.
Mom's gonna lose it.
I better behave."
So Adam, is he? Give him my best.
Absolutely.
Our best. I don't know. I'd love to meet him one day. Does he help with the organization, or does he kind of?
So he's done. So there's been some art stuff that we've, we've needed help with that he's done.
What kind of art are we like painting or?
So you just name it. Yeah, he can do anything.
Yeah, love that.
Anything,
man.
Sculpt, paint.
Wow,
draw. Nice. I mean anything. Wow. He understands. He's very fortunate to be able to use what he loves to do and get paid to do it.
So professionally, that's incredible.
Correct. Yeah. So he's been freelance well over 15 years, maybe even longer. But
did you guys ever do did you guys ever do like the ghost pottery?
No.
Scene? Okay.
No.
You haven't seen Ghost?
The movie Ghost?
It's a great movie.
You young girl, you.
I watched 4 movies.
It's Demi Moore, Patrick Swayze, and they do the pottery wheel, and it's kind of a sexy.
It is. It's like an intimate.
Yeah. So they're artists, I like to.
Okay. Okay.
You have to go YouTube that scene.
So I will say that
song comes on. Yeah.
Adam is, let's say the 2nd. So Wednesday, he will be celebrating 1 year sobriety.
Really?
Wow,
yes.
Go Adam.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
We're going to celebrate him at Underground.
That's right.
We always open with celebration so we can celebrate people's milestones.
It'll be
6 days. We've had 6 months and years.
It'll be his 1 year.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
This Wednesday?
This Wednesday, March 4th.
Oh my.
Yeah. I took him. He went.
Do you want to come Wednesday?
I'm going to have to look. It's really going to kind of depend as far as where my dad is.
Sure.
It's what I've already.
Yes, your dad is battling some health issues.
He is. It's just been I would just like a little normalcy back in my life.
Girl.
I just
Meet heard.
I don't know if I know what to do, but so that was
right. That's the problem. Yeah,
so it's just tell you, I feel like I need to kind of backtrack because I had said Zack was not raised in addiction, nothing like that. So I do want to stress that yes, Adam is a recovering alcoholic, very, very high functioning alcoholic.
Sure.
So he had a conversation with Zack actually that, I want you to know, buddy, like I'm an alcoholic. And Zack said, no, you're not, because while Adam would drink, he didn't see a personality shift. He didn't see a mean alcoholic. Like Adam's very, very high functioning. Mm-hmm. So he didn't have a perception of alcohol being a problem because he wasn't, I'm not sure how to.
I think I understand what you're saying.
It wasn't an active addiction problem.
He didn't see the result of it.
Correct.
Problematic.
Yes.
He's not losing jobs. He's not.
He's still going to work.
Abusive to you guys.
Right.
I mean, your textbook.
But it was
sleeping all day and not working. So
exactly.
What led Adam to make a change?
So honestly, after Zack's death, everything just gets worse.
Well,
I mean, and I even found that for myself. I used alcohol heavily.
Self-medicate.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Heavily. And it was something Adam had wanted to do for some time, as far as he had, researched this treatment facility. We had some friends who had been through it and very successful. And when he was ready, he had set that date. And it was because it was just to the point where there was no control. Not that you truly ever have control, but when you're high functioning, you think you do.
That's the facade.
Yes.
Did he go to treatment?
He did.
He did.
Yeah, he went 30 days at Harris House.
Good for him.
Shout out Harris House.
Yeah, what a wonderful. I mean, it changed his life.
Yeah.
And just
no, they're real good.
They're just
there's not enough beds. So we do our best here to have working relationship and refer. I mean, if we're full, we need somebody. The person needs help. So.
And that's what's so hard is that they're really good treatment facilities are hard to find.
Yeah. And there's a stigma out there. It used to be Florida, now California is the new quote unquote C word because of the body brokering they do. It's gotten real nasty out there.
Wow.
Now, I mean, and it doesn't mean every treatment center in the state of California is bad, but there's a conglomerate of them that are, relapse is their business model. So they set you up to fail and use your insurance card.
Oh my
as an
God.
Amex.
That's just.
It's. I mean, that they used to call it the Florida Shuffle. Things have gotten better, and people are held to higher standards. I wouldn't say even the places that we may not think are the best in this area, that I don't know of any of that going on.
Good.
And it's a small town, quote unquote. We take people from all over, and a lot of times people that call us, it's best for them to get the fuck out of the area.
Yeah.
So we work with, we have friends out in New Jersey that have good treatment centers, in Pennsylvania,
Yes.
some in Florida that we have really good success with, because, to Neil's story, you got to get out.
It is prime example.
So, there are times where people don't want to leave, but it may be best to take a one-way ticket to New Jersey or Florida.
Absolutely.
Well, my best to Adam. If you guys don't come Wednesday, maybe I'll remember to celebrate him during celebrations.
That'd be great.
If that's okay with him, because it's even more heroic considering what you guys have gone through to be able to.
Yeah.
No, I mean, nobody would judge you.
Well, and so that's the thing. I kind of like, I quit drinking, obviously, because Adam, I'm not going to, I'm not going to have a drink and, throw back a few. And here's my husband.
What a good partner.
It's important. You have to have dual support. Yeah. You have to. And I admit fully, I created a very, very bad habit with alcohol after losing Zack.
Right.
But I can tell you that people, when you start drinking heavily because you've lost your child, nobody questions it.
Yeah.
And so nobody is going to be the first to say,
that's a good point.
Is this maybe turning into a problem?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a tough sit down.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Tiffany.
Right. I know you
just went through the worst.
You just lost your whole life,
right,
son.
So it's, but Adam and I, we talk all the time. I'm like, God, do you know how proud Zack would be of us right now?
God.
So proud. I have no doubt. Yeah. How proud he'd be.
I always equate the goosebumps to the Holy Spirit.
Same. Wait, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
sweet.
We're pals.
Yeah,
She's my.
We be knowing each other. Yeah. He's my fun Uncle Guido.
Oh, Uncle Guido.
Where we worked through our little health insurance today.
Literally crying in the club.
You need someone.
We had a good sesh on the rover, right? We worked on a few things.
Yeah, I mean, from the second I got in the car, I was like, "You're late." He was like, "I'm concerned that you're uninsured." I was like, "Fuck me, I guess."
It's time we take
It was
these
the first
steps.
text he sent me this morning, 8:39 a.m. Two like business bullets, and then the third one. I'm concerned that you don't have health insurance yet. Sorry if you're feeling micromanaged. I was like,
good for you.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, I need the kick in the ass, but I did cry.
You're welcome, Elaine and Joe.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got out there. Well, nobody tells us these things.
It's,
Thank you.
And again, I told her, even at 42, there's a list of hard phone calls I got to make, and they're not nearly as hard as I make them out to be. They're just, I don't want to call this guy. I don't want to call this person. When you call them and you get off the phone, you're like, oh, well, fuck, that was informative and not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the best that could happen, but the worst that could happen is they completely dysregulate you and hit you with some shit that you were not expecting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's why I avoid the phone. But he doesn't.
And most people. I mean, I don't know.
Not most. Either he's in the minority or.
Are you a phone person? Do you
Oh
talk on
my
the phone a
God.
lot?
Have you not been hearing his phone be hotline bling this whole time?
I got too many irons in the fire.
You're
I
vibrating.
I do now unpack where your trauma source comes from the phone call that changed your life. I've been there. Very fair.
Thanks.
2 for 2 on the last 2 shows. So I just now, voila, I understand it. I'm still going to work on it.
Yeah.
But I understand. Tiffany, I don't mean this lightly. I really think you're a real life hero. I know
God,
that.
yeah, so do
Thank you.
I've been telling everybody that I can, and I'm probably getting ad nauseum about it, but this group of moms that have made themselves at home at Underground has been I mean, yeah, it's a blessing, all those little things, but I cannot say enough how it's been life-changing to me, to my wife who helps lead the ministry, the Pastor Charity, who's there as a actual pastor. I think I speak for Zoe. I mean, and everybody that participates, to meet Neil, to meet Aaron, to meet you, Julie, who's speaking on Wednesday. I am in, like, it's an odd privilege I feel that I have.
Thank you.
Yeah, same.
I just, yeah, it's like, I can't articulate it well enough. And as long as I have God willing and breath in my lungs, and I want to fight for you and fight for Zack and all these kids that's light got robbed from this world by this fucking disease, and the only way to keep it shining is by moms doing the impossible, and that's getting out of bed after losing a child. I wouldn't be able to, and
you would.
It's the impossible.
Because you have to. You don't have a fucking choice.
I think, you already what you're doing, how you were all just so involved in making this change. I didn't get involved till I lost my son. So seeing people so involved who haven't had to thankfully deal with that significant tragedy, but you still see the need to help. I mean, there's no words to put on that. That's incredible. Because you give people like me that chance to let our voices be heard, to let our children's stories be heard. And so many people don't do that, aren't given the opportunity, or just afraid to.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm going to deflect it and throw it all back to you. But
Yes.
I do want to invite you. We have, in January, now it's beginning of March, we launched. So this show, it's Pondoff's Anonymous. Then we have another show I do with like a world-class clinician named Chaz. It's called Needed to Hear That. Purpose of that show is, he's the clinician, I'm the dumbass client, and I try to ask questions that, and
Like the
it's
sports reporter of the four that's like, so what's a touchdown?
right, sure, that's me. So like
That's a football.
Right.
the show is really, he's really wise and profound, and always want to end
He's great.
and say, I hope someone needed to hear that. And then we have this show that we joke around and kind of call it a fuck around show, but it's we've called it PAFO, and I want to invite you back to that sometime to talk about addiction is real, to continue to talk about Zack, because this isn't a one and done episode. I think the conversation is in Zack's story's got to continue through this podcast network. Increases the chances of people hearing this story and it changing their life. So I'd love to invite you back someday on a PAFO, because
Absolutely.
Oh my god,
wouldn't it be fun? Like,
I would love on a PAFO.
Yeah, we fuck around a little bit. We talk about the hard
just
stuff.
3
but
hours of like,
Good.
if you have ADHD, just say anything that comes in.
Vyvanse.
I think, yeah.
Oh my god, Vyvanse made me feel like God.
I love Vyvanse.
Wait, you take Vyvanse?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I really just recently got my adult ADD under control.
Godspeed
Really?
to
Yeah,
you.
just recently. I was diagnosed at 19 and never took medicine. And I just started to realize that this is
Life doesn't have to be this hard.
is more than just me being neurotic.
Right,
Your
right.
baseline doesn't have to be a chaotic
Right.
video game.
So what your son said to you. So I always said I would probably lose my mind to spend 30 seconds in Zach's head. So
Got it.
totally understand.
Yes. And speaking of Vyvanse real quick, I took it under prescription from my PCP to dabble in it for some weight loss because there's a side effect of it, the FDA approved for certain high cholesterol and morbid obesity, which I think is a fucking drastic
Term.
statement.
Yeah.
I noticed what I was doing, and I started noticing the come down too hard. Being a recovering alcoholic and addict, it was a St. Patrick's Day a couple years ago. I was like, we got home from the St. Patrick's Day stuff at 2 or 3. I think Ash went with my mother down to McGurk's. I'm at home watching basketball, and I'm like coming down. I'm like, I wonder if I should take another one to perk back up for St. Patrick's Day. And I was like, nope, this is a problem.
That's not how it.
Right.
That's not
I'm
what
Bottle says one today.
Listen, fucking grateful for that I guess, work and experience in my recovery, that this was instant red flag for me. And I was done that. And I was like, I emailed my doctor and I told Ashley, I go, I thought about chasing it, and I didn't, but it didn't. I don't have ADD.
I know.
I have ADHD.
See, when I hear stories like that, like
sped me up.
sped me up.
See, I don't notice a thing.
Really?
Except that my brain is what I assume, hopefully, is how maybe normal brains work.
That's how my
Yeah.
roommate felt. My roommate, most ADHD lady I've ever met, which is saying a lot. She tried Vyvanse for a little, and she said it was a mood stabilizer. I was like, my heart rate, or it acted like one for her. I was on it for 2 weeks, and my heart rate was consistently 150.
Wow.
Plus. My Apple Watch was freaking out.
I felt like I was doing a line of coke.
Yeah. I lost like 10, 15 pounds.
No, I will say, like, definitely, because I take it first thing in the morning, and I don't have much of an appetite.
Yeah.
Usually, like, I'll eat dinner, obviously.
But you don't speed up.
No, I don't have.
It's because you have ADHD or ADD.
So right, because when I hear these stories, I'm just like, wow. But no, I've
and drugs hit people differently. All these psychotropics,
absolutely,
you know.
And I'm to the point with it to where, like, at home, fantastic dosage point. Like at home, still a little crazy at work, but I think that's more of behavioral things I need to work on. I don't want to.
You're in nursing, right? I mean,
yeah. I don't want to continue increasing in medication. I think this is just going to be more of me.
Right, it's both.
Knocking down.
This is what a PAFO is like. We're going to talk about all kinds of shit. We'll talk about some hard stuff, some great stuff.
Good.
Our prescriptions, our body image stuff. We're gonna get to it. But so you were invited back though.
I would love it.
Open. We'll have to schedule that.
I'll roll out a red carpet.
Absolutely. We'll make sure we have sugar for the coffee.
I will say though, this is probably the most enjoyable non-sugar cup of coffee I've had in a long time.
I got a bag
Shout
of
out
it for
Long
you.
Story. I
for
also
real.
gave her a bag.
Good. I drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, you can give her a bag too.
Good. We're gonna take care of you, and we'll see you soon on a Wednesday, and then we'll see you soon on a PFO. And I'm just in awe, and like the words gratitude and all that just don't do enough justice.
I appreciate it, and just honestly, what you guys do, really, it's phenomenal.
I will not be able to get that picture of Zack out of and that's a good thing. We're going to keep his spirit alive and his light.
When I come back, I'll bring you guys some Share Zack story bracelets.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
I would love some.
I started, it's been...
Decorate the table.
I always keep some. There's a memorial bench on our front porch. And since the day he passed, their kids are always putting stuff there. I had a woman, one of Zach's friends, the day of his funeral, every weekend from his funeral until they moved to California, she would come and place roses in his initials on our porch swing. But I always have his bracelets. The kids, usually there's a big swipe of them when school starts. But yeah, so I've been buying these bracelets for, 4.5 years now. So it's nice to.
We'd be honored.
Absolutely. And I always tell people you don't have to wear it, but it's just to remind you what you fight for, because you guys are in the fight with us. So.
Absolutely. And we're not, we're taking up arms, and we're not going away, and it takes an army. This is
does.
Really scary, dark, deadly diseases.
It is.
Lived your nightmare.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. We are
Absolutely.
so grateful.
Thank you guys so much. This was the most lighthearted, nice conversation I've had.
I'm happy to hear that. But
truthfully,
She's always calling Melanie on the way home.
I know. I'm like, therapy session.
No, honestly, I was telling Adam, I'm like, I'm looking forward to, just randomly, not having to have note cards so I don't lose my place.
Low structure, just let it out.
Just talk.
And I know you do this a lot, and I hope we were able to.
Oh, this was fantastic,
not
guys.
step over ourselves too much, and
this was fantastic.
You are just the absolute best.
Thank you.
Such a gem, and I am so grateful. And we'll see you very soon.
Good. Looking forward to it.
Adam,
I will.
For him every day, and then for you as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks, everybody. Let us pray.
Pondoff's Anonymous is hosted by Chris Pondoff with Zoe Mendenall and Jeff Allen. Produced, engineered, mixed, and filmed by Jeff Allen. Recorded at Illinois Recovery Center in the Pondoff's Anonymous studios. Music by McCall. The track is Anti-Hero. This podcast shares stories. It's not a substitute for professional help. If you need support, visit pondoffsanonymous.com and contact us.
Some mornings need more than motivation. They need a solid cup of coffee. Light in the Dark is the Pondoff's Anonymous Dark Roast, created with our friends at Long Story Coffee. Bold, smooth, and built for the days when you just need something steady. Every bag helps support the conversations and community behind the show. Order online for delivery, shipping, or local pickup at pondoffsanonymous.com/coffee. Light in the Dark coffee. A little light, even on heavy days.